Hello, this is the Calvary Briefing. Thank you so much for watching. 2 weeks from today, it will be Christmas Eve. Today is December 10th, 2020, already. Well, welcome. And if you're thinking about the weekend already and thinking about Sundays, I wanted to let you know that the recent Supreme Court decision has allowed us to have more people attending, still socially distanced and still masked, but we have plenty of room on Sunday mornings. Let us know if you're coming. We're going to go back to just one morning service at 9:30 a.m., and this week is a special Sunday as we have our children's program. So you'll want to either be a part of that by being here or by making sure that you check the link in your email and are with us that way on Sunday morning. If we have any difficulty celebrating Christmas this year, there's a really good chance that nostalgia will be the culprit. Nostalgia is a sentimental longing or wistful affection for the past, typically for a period or place with happy personal associations. Well, this year, more than any other year in my life, it will be easier to look wistfully back at the past. The past is comfortable for us for the simple reason that we have already been there. And this year presents circumstances that we haven't been through before. I think of the many things that are a part of the Christmas celebration in my family that we do year after year. Christmas has been an experience like putting on a pair of comfortable slippers. Well, this year, the shoes that we're putting on are new and stiff, and they hurt our feet, and they need to be broken in. When you hop out of bed each morning, you probably see a great deal of chaos, conflict, and even confusion. Nostalgia takes you back, away from this to a land that is known and a land that grows sweeter with each passing year. But it's not real, is it? Words from Jared Wilson hit me between the eyes as I was reading an article this week. He talked about the past and said, "The past is a nice place to visit, but a terrible place to live." He writes, "We cannot stay there. Anyone stuck in a nostalgic space is stuck in unreality. And the truth is, much of our nostalgic dreaming is fantasy, not anything real. There is a kind of nostalgia that is actually harmful." I can remember after I'd been at Calvary Church for about 6 months, 18 years ago almost exactly now, I went out to share a meal with Gordon and Joan Harper. And I'll never forget something that Gordon Harper told me. He said, "When someone tries to tell you about the good old days at Calvary Church, don't believe them. Those days were just like these days, full of challenges, and we didn't know what was going to happen." That was a lot of wisdom, and I'm so thankful that God has put wise saints in my life to share things like that. The Bible actually says something about nostalgia, and we find it, surprisingly, in the book of Ecclesiastes. In Ecclesiastes 7, verse 10, we read, "Say not, 'Why were the former days better than these?' For it is not from wisdom that you ask this." Well, nostalgia actually points to something helpful and good. What is nostalgia at its core? Nostalgia is a longing for something better. God hardwired us for that feeling. Why? Because God does want us to long for something better. Eternity with Him, heaven. And at the end of all that we do and acquire on earth, we find nothing satisfies except for God. I think so often of the quote from St. Augustine, "Our hearts are restless until they find their rest in Thee." So, what should we do? Well, let me read for you something about the first Christmas celebration ever. In those days, a decree went out from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be registered. This was the first registration when Quirinius was governor of Syria. All went to be registered, each to his own town. And Joseph also went up from Galilee, from the town of Nazareth to Judea in the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house and lineage of David, to be registered with Mary, his betrothed, who was with child. First Christmas, Joseph and Mary have to take a road trip to go back to Joseph's hometown in order to register. And oh, by the way, she's pregnant and ready to give birth. While they were there, the time came for her to give birth. And she gave birth to her firstborn son and wrapped him in swaddling cloths and laid him in a manger, because there was no place for them in the inn. The first Christmas was pretty much a mess. Things didn't go according to plan, and yet the Son of God, Jesus Christ himself, was born in Bethlehem. That first Christmas was an example of an imperfect Christmas that was actually perfect. And so may we, this Christmas, do two things. Number one, may we remember the first Christmas. As we get discouraged, as we look back with nostalgic feelings about the past, may we remember the first imperfect Christmas that was actually perfect. As we also remember, I believe we should go a step further. I believe we should remind ourselves to remember. When the Israelites crossed the Jordan River to take possession of the land that God had promised them, they took some of the stones with them. And we read that when their children saw the stones, their children would ask, "What are these stones?" The parents would say, "Israel crossed this Jordan on dry ground so that you may fear the Lord your God forever." That's found in Joshua chapter 4. By the way, Joshua is the Hebrew name, translated in Greek, Jesus. Many years ago at another leadership meeting here at Calvary Church, the leader of our board came in with a box of rocks. And he read these verses from Joshua to us, and he gave us each a rock. This rock is still on my desk, and I look at it almost every time that I come into the office here at Calvary Church. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't remember the situation that we were praying about when I was given this rock, but I do remember the point of this rock. My God is faithful. Why don't you take a rock, put it aside, and when you put away your Christmas lights and your Christmas decorations, put a rock in it so that next year, if Jesus doesn't return and if you're still here, you will remember God is faithful. And he's put you here so that you may fear him forever. Have a great week.